I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are just about 12 minutes late, and I apologize for that, but I am happy to say that I'm not the only one currently going through some kind of weirdness, because literally everybody else everywhere is. I apologize for this evening's delay. I was in the process of trying to get the show to load into the duck, and it would not take it for whatever reason. It kept telling me that it would not load, and I don't know what the heck was going on there. But we are here, ladies and gentlemen, and that is all that matters. Better late than never. Yeah, damn it, I'm late. I was saying the same thing there, Joey. So that's all that matters. Hey, I hope you guys had a good day. I hope you had a good first day back to the grind, getting back into work. Holy crap, so much craziness is going on everywhere. I don't even understand. I've just been dealing with a bunch of craziness and trying to take care of things. So I think it's finally starting to calm down. Wake up first bright and early this morning to one of my very, very, very dear favorite viewers. Leaves a comment, says, I'm tired of listening about Sproles. And I'm like, I'm sorry that I can't get Mayor Ridenour to kidnap somebody or to steal $30,000 and do something awesome to talk about. Like, I just kind of talk about what's going on when it goes on. If you notice, like, I won't talk about Sproles for 3 or 4 shows or 3 or 4 weeks, and I'll get people from Henry County start texting me, are you ever going to do a show about Henry County again? Come on, people. Like, it kind of just comes when it comes. Listen, if I'm not talking about your area, that's a good thing. Jesus, listen to yourselves. You're like bitching at me because you want your elected people to be. You realize that the goal is to not have to do a show, right? The goal is for me to be like, nothing's going on. I guess I'll do a history podcast. I guess I'll do a podcast about music. Or have, half naked people come in and talk to them about what kind of music they like or whatever. Like, that's the goal. The goal is the day that I don't talk about the craziness going on in Muncie and Madison County and New Jersey, and that our rights are not being violated, and that your sheriff isn't pulling over black people and shooting fish in a barrel, and you know that Mayor Bob doesn't suck, and Mayor Hogsett is not a horrible human being, and Congress isn't having a cat fight. You know, those are the days. Yes, I saw that wonderful Ace Ventura reference. I get tired of talking about specific people for periods of time, specifically when we do something for many shows in a row. I'm like, all right, it's time to move along, but we kind of got to talk about what happens when it's happening. You know, it doesn't make any sense for me to be like, you want me to tell you about that bastard Sean Byram? Like, nobody even knows who that he is anymore. It'll pass like gas, Christopher. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the first little gripe I have to gripe, and I have to level at you people. Oops. Somehow I turned the what? Oh, hey, I didn't know if I touch that button on my keyboard, it turns my cover on. Wow. Huh. I learned something new today. Bam. Bam. Wow, cool. Huh. I just learned something. Interesting. Okay. Well, I won't lean on that again. David LaRue. Honestly, I do not know. So how about I do this? Why don't I tell you guys, keep in mind that I don't just plop down and be like, I think I'm going to talk about the show. I generally start working on tonight's show at the time that Kate and I do at the time that you hear this. When you hear this, listen, I'm going to play it for you. When you hear this, at the end of the show each night, I take a few minutes to debrief with Kate, start talking to her about crap, and then she'll be doing things on her end, and I'm like talking to her and doing things on my end. I'm getting text messages and I'm getting phone calls. Kate's heard it. Like I don't get off the show. Literally, what happens is when we press everything.
Literally, what happens is we go off air.
Yeah.
And then his phone starts blowing up.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Well, we're trying to talk about what we're going to be talking about the next night.
Yeah, that's what happens.
And what records have come in and all that. Yeah. Then the phone blows up and I end up getting half of a conversation. Right. It was entertaining. Right.
That's what I was going to say. When we press this button and this isn't here, you can still hear us. But when we press the video loop, it mutes my mic. When I press that, it mutes my mic. And when I press that button, normally like Audie Barber calls me, or like I've got 4 or 5 other people calling me. Someone's calling like, are you still live? And I'm like, yes, don't call me right now. I'm live. And it happens. So why don't I tell you what we've planned for today's show? This is the crappiest I've ever been to you guys. I'm normally not crappy to you guys like this. I'm sorry. I love you. Why don't I tell you what we have planned for the show? And then if these topics are something that you're inclined to listen to, you can listen to them live. Or if you hear something that you might not like, you can either listen till that point, or you can say, hey, I'm going to tune out and watch The Professor of Rock or something, and then I'll catch you tomorrow, like in the morning, when I can fast forward to the parts that I like. And I really try to tell you guys so you'll have an understanding. But I always tell everybody, even though we talk about something that might not necessarily pertain to your area, it's always good to listen, because a lot of these same things, while they happen with different people and happen in different situations, they're happening all over. I just need a hug. Absolutely. I think it's just today is a full moon. Like everybody's going crazy. Everybody is going crazy. $7,000 pump in a busted up restroom that wasn't locked up or safe. I want to talk about that tonight too, Kid Rock. We're going to talk about that. I'm actually going to talk about that. So I'm glad you said that, but we are going to talk about that. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on the show, if it's okay with you all, I'm going to talk about how Delaware County government is fighting. Delaware County government fights to do the bare minimum. Isn't that amazing? Literally, there was a fight today, a back and forth debate on the Delaware County Council between public servants. Between one guy who said, I'm not asking for anybody to do more. I just don't think we should be doing less. Of course, everybody hates him because he's a loudmouth and he speaks his mind and he says things that people don't like. But damn it, a lot of times on the council, he's the only one up there speaking the truth. But we can't like him because of his personal opinions. Let me tell you, and this is a gripe of mine, I'm going to rant. This might be a rant show. I've known a lot of assholes in my life. I've been friends with a lot of assholes. I have known people that I have not counted as friends, but I've interacted with on a routine basis, and I have gained a lot of respect, a lot of information. I mean, even take it a step further. There are people that I interact with on normally like a daily basis that I absolutely have no respect for. Zero respect. But because of what's going on, I deal with them, and they still add something to the mix. Obviously, if the person I'm dealing with is an asshole and they add nothing to the mix and they're not good and they don't do anything, well, then I cut those people off. But look, I am an adult and I realize in my life, it's not always going to be sausages and flowers. All right, I realize I'm not always going to like what I'm dealing with. I'm not always going to be the top of everybody's pile. I realize that not everybody's going to like what I got to say. I realize that a lot of people are probably just going to hate me for me being me. They're going to hate me for being fat. They're going to hate me for being 42. They're going to hate me for my opinion. They're going to hate me because I'm white. They're going to hate me because I'm a loudmouth. They're going to hate me because I went to Delta. They're going to hate me because I'm from Muncie. They're going to hate me because I'm American. They're going to hate me because I'm from Indiana. Whatever. But you know what? I don't give a damn about those people because they don't mean anything to me. The people that I care about are the ones that matter. Now, if I went to my grandparents' house and my grandpa's and my grandma's like, you suck, that would bother me. If I tuned into Kate and we logged on for the show and she's like, you know what? I think you're a fat piece of shit, that would bother me. But if somebody that I don't know says that, I don't care. If someone I know says, you know what, Bilbrey, you're not a man. You know what? All right, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I don't care what your opinion is of me. The bottom line is I'm an adult and I realize that not everybody's going to agree with me. I'm not going to agree with everybody, and that's just life. And so the bottom line is, man, I know, like, we're all supposed to hate Ryan. Ryan's a bad guy. Nobody likes him. Oh, except for the people that do. There are people that do. And I'm sure he's fine with that. I don't know. Ryan and I aren't the same people. We don't go out drinking together. I've never met to my knowledge. Have I ever, Ryan, I don't even know if he's on here. I don't know that Ryan and I have ever met in public. I mean, we've been in the same room in the council meeting together. But like, literally, he's up here on this council and he's saying, oh, we're going to get there. We're going to replay parts of it. I'm going to tell you this for the seriousness of it. I literally watched this guy argue with 6 other people that they should keep in the minutes of the meeting. You all know what the minutes of the meeting are? The minutes of the meeting are what tells what happened in the meeting. Listen, we've been talking for 16 minutes. So far, I've been ranting. Now, if you were going to write minutes of these last 16 minutes, a little brief description, you could write several things. But if you wrote, Bilbrey got on and spoke into a microphone, that's not going to give anybody any kind of clue about what we talked about, what we discussed. So I want you guys to watch that. Hate Ryan all you want, but listen to the argument. And then ask yourself, is that council going to be a better council in 8 months without him? Or is it going to be a little worse off because I'm telling you, are surely not going to have anybody on that council. Amber didn't win. David didn't win. And Ryan, we'll have to see what happens in the recount. But, I mean, I don't think that he's like, yeah, I'm going to totally spin it around. I think he realizes. Yes, Ryan says whatever goes through his mind, and he shouldn't. Listen, good. I get it. I get it, Tweety Bird. And hate Ryan for that if you want. I hate him for it if you want. But when we are, I just want you to listen. I want you to listen to this part of the meeting. Hate him. I get it. I get it. And this is, I get it. I just want you to listen to this portion of the meeting. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. That's story number 1. Delaware County fights to do the bare minimum. Then we're going to talk about some City of Muncie stuff. City of Muncie is going to be in our show tonight. We're going to talk about the fact that the Star Press finally jumped on board with this paying the AFSCME people outside of the salary ordinance. We're going to talk about that. We've been talking about it since April. The Star Press finally wrote a story today, published a story today on it. That's a thing. And then, ladies and gentlemen, depending on if it's okay with you all, we might get to some records from Henry County. But if you're sick of hearing about it, I guess I'll just say, screw it. I'll know what happened and you guys won't. So I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe I'll even turn the comments on and see what you guys are saying. I've been in that kind of a mood. Welcome, everybody. I just now turned the comments on. Sorry. Okay. So first and foremost, we're going to go to this Delaware County trigger warning. Ryan Webb's going to be on the screen for a moment. I don't think he says anything. Listen, I promise you, he's going to say something that someone's not going to like in this meeting. I promise that's going to happen, but it's not going to happen here at the beginning. So I'm letting everybody know. But I think it's important. Here's what I want. It doesn't matter if the people that like Ryan listen to this. I specifically want the people that hate Ryan to listen to this. This is important. Professionalism should matter. Look, I agree. I agree. David Pennicuff came out of retirement to write it. Listen, and I want to say this. Before I get on with this. I'm saying everything that I'm saying, and I like Charlize, and I respect Charlize, I respect Tweety Bird, and I respect their opinions to not like Ryan. I am not trying to jam Ryan down their throats. I get that he might not be their cup of tea. I'm just saying, okay, so I get it. People don't like Ryan. When Ryan leaves, my question then is, who are we going to get to say this? Now it's on us to I guess, get someone to do this, because I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to what happens, and I want to know. My question is, who are we going to get to say this? I'm not being disrespectful of anyone's opinions, and I'm harsh when I say hate Ryan. I'm not specifically. I don't mean anyone hates him. I apologize. I'm not putting that on anybody. I'm being a smart ass when I say that. I was like, who's talking to me? But it's Jessica Piper. Hold on. Who's taking over my show and beating on something? I was getting ready to be really mad. It wasn't Kate. I could see it wasn't Kate. I was like, hello? It was Jessica Piper on the other side. Holy crap. I'm in a way today. All right. Here we go. We're going to jump to 4-minute section. They do the pledge, and they take a little prayer, I think, and they do all that stuff, all the normal stuff that happens at the meeting.
Yes.
And then this isn't even over anything of any major. Well, it is important. They're getting ready to discuss the meeting minutes for last meeting. Now, before we get started, it is important to remind you all, last meeting, there was a lengthy discussion between Emily Anderson, like the second or third most highest paid employee of Delaware County government. She's the court administrator. There was a lengthy discussion between her and Ryan Webb, and her and other members, and Ryan Webb and other members, about spending a large amount of money to move a TV in front of the jury box, to move it back, to move some switches, and the amount of money that we as a county were going to spend to do X, Y, or Z. There was a lengthy, roughly about a 15-minute discussion. So it's important that you go into this meeting with that in mind. There was also a discussion about a fee for people who live in a trailer park. And it was a pretty lengthy discussion. And it's also of importance to know that this man right here, Miami Vice, was not at the meeting last month. He was MIA. He was on vacation, sick, something, I don't know. He was not there. So that's important to know that going into this discussion.
All right, moving on to the approval of the April 23rd council meeting minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to table those minutes, if I could, please. There was I was reading through the minutes, and there was a little bit of a lack of detail in some of the minutes. And I think it would be important to get a little bit more information into those minutes and give the auditor's office, a little bit more time to add the necessary information. I know that the minutes are on YouTube. A lot of times there's a link provided.
Back up. Now, I know what Ryan was saying there. The minutes aren't on YouTube. There's a video on YouTube. And I have been one of those people that have pushed. Miami Vice is Matt Kantz. He just looks really like light colored suit, light colored shirt, kind of open down. I just referred to him as Miami Vice right here. That's Matt Kantz. So I want to say this. I am one of the people that pushed for videoing like everything, videoing these meetings. They are a great way to do it. Very seldomly do I ever look at meeting minutes. I go to the tape. If it's on the tape, I can see it, say it, whatever. Sometimes it might be a little muffled. So then I have to issue a records request for the minutes. Sometimes there might not be a videotape, so I have to go back to the minutes. Sometimes something might happen, or I'm wanting something from 3 years ago, so I have to go back to the minutes. So there are important reasons that do go to the minutes. And when I do that, when I go back to a meeting from 2017, it's important that the minutes reflect what happened in the meeting. I've talked about the City of Muncie minutes repeatedly. I've talked about those minutes over and over and over before. The City of Muncie minutes for the council meetings are chef's kiss, the very best thing possible. Lacey, damn it, her name's one of those things, does a fantastic job. The clerk's office does a good job. I'm gonna give the clerk's office under Belinda Munson a round of applause and attaboy. Belinda has really kind of shocked me in the last couple of months. She's mean as a rattlesnake, and she's got an attitude the day is long, but I like her. I like what I've been seeing out of her the last couple of months. So I got to give her a little bit of respect there. Kind of crazy. I never really thought that I would be saying that, but I'm saying all kinds of crazy things. I'm maybe maturing a little bit. I don't know. But, people that I once supported, maybe I'm not so much. People that I used to bash, maybe I support a little bit. I reserve the right to change my mind and my opinions from time to time. I'm going to show you an example of the Muncie City Council meeting minutes before we go on here. That's what I've been killing time to do. I want to show you guys an example of meeting minutes that are just superb. Okay, I'm pulling up the Muncie City Council minutes right now. We've all went over these, and we should all be familiar with these. This Muncie is the gold standard of meeting minutes. Like, I've legitimately said, if you walk to the podium and you fart, they put it in there. So don't be thinking that you're going to get up to the podium and slide one out and they're not going to catch it, because they on it. Okay, I'm just telling you how it is. Muncie does not play around. Okay, so here are these minutes. Listen to this. Citizen recognition. Look, my gosh, there is a whole page written on Nora Powell bloviating on about citizen recognition. And just goes on and on and on. Look, these minutes are 18 pages long. Holy crap. Look, okay? They go into the first ordinance. Ordinance previously introduced. Ordinance 2-24. Ordinance of the City of Muncie authorizing issuance of sale of bonds, blah, 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 blah. Look at this. Look how long this goes on. On and on. And basically, each paragraph is a new council person. Okay? So, the first paragraph, Greg Martz is up and he's talking. And he talks. He talks all of this. Then, the very next paragraph, it's Councilperson Mason. Then, Councilperson Powell. Then, Councilperson McIntosh. Then, Councilperson Basham. Then Gullion, Sarah Gullion, Councilperson Gullion talks to Basham. Then Powell. Then Councilperson Garrett. Then Councilperson Mason. Then Gullion. Then Dan Burford, Fire Chief. And he goes on and on and on. And then Garrett, then Powell. Then Councilperson McIntosh and Powell and Jason Chafin. And Wayne Scaife, and Councilperson Green, and Andrew Popp and Dan Ridenhour. And then Powell. And we're still on the first ordinance, dude. Look at this. This is still the first ordinance. Look at this. This is nuts. All of that writing on there is about the very first listen to this, Charlize. The city council recently went to Jeff Howell and said, hey, we've got some extra time. We're going to come do your minutes. And he was like, no, thank you. I need to talk to Dan about that. What? What? Why would you turn down transparency? These people deserve to be deserve something. I'm not going to say because we're on YouTube. Look, we're still on the very first ordinance. We're on page 12, first ordinance. No, right now, finally, the second ordinance. 324, and it was a quick one. In all fairness, it was quick. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Ordinance 4, and some of them are long and some of them are short. Just depends. Look at this. Look how long these are. These are full retellings. And I ask, do you all remember that Muncie City Council meeting that started at 7 o'clock at night and went until 2 a.m.? Do you all remember that? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. It went for 7 hours. The minutes to that meeting was like 98 pages. And I asked Lacey how long it took her to do those. And she said it took me 3 weeks. It took me 3 weeks to do a 7-hour meeting. I know. Listen, Charlize, and I appreciate this. I appreciate this comment. And this is why, ma'am, that I can respect you, because I knew it. I knew that. I knew that you would say that. And I can respect that. I can get behind it. So all I'm saying is look at this. So now with this in mind, let's go back to this.
Provided for the public to find those minutes on YouTube. But I believe it should be really on us and the onus
on those videos he was just talking about. What about elderly people that don't know how to use the internet? Listen, there aren't many elderly people older, up in age, 70, 80, that are as with it and at it as my grandparents. My grandparents live on their own. They do stuff. They mow the yard. My grandpa was on the freaking roof the other day. He was up there just painting, like, my grandmother, my mom's mom that passed away from lung cancer back in 2016 or 17. A year before she died, she roofed her house. A 75-year-old woman was up. My mom goes down there and she's like, "What are you doing? Get down from there." And she's like, "Oh, I'm just roofing the house." That's the grandparents I come from. All right. That's my grandma and my grandpa that I'm with all the time. Talk about. They're the most with it people that I know. That being said, like they find YouTube and they're watching this on YouTube right now on TV. They're not even using it on their phone. They connect it to their TV and they're like, bam, watching it on the big screen. That being said, they don't have a computer. They don't have a laptop. They don't have a desktop. If it wasn't for me and for doing this, my grandparents wouldn't be watching the meetings. And so what about for them? What about people like them? What about people who are destitute? What about someone that's that can't afford internet? Or, people shouldn't be locked out of government because they were born in 1940 or because they've got a shitty job. So
on us as a government to maintain our minutes, and that is the official record. And I believe it's important that
it is.
we be as detailed as possible when we do our minutes.
We
so
should.
For that reason, I'd like to make a motion to table the minutes.
Good.
Next month.
Everybody's going to support that. Second, Ryan, and then everyone's going to vote, right? Listen, do you think that's going to happen? Where's everybody at? Hey, Miami Vice. Hey, Dan Flanagan. Bill Hughes. Jessica, hey, are you over there? Are you paying attention? I know we don't like Ryan, but you beat him. We beat him. You beat him. We managed to win, but he's still here for 7 more months.
Second motion.
Okay.
Oh, right. Somebody stepped up to the plate. Thank you, Counselor Hughes. I knew somebody had the intestinal fortitude and the to do what was right. Thank you, Counselor Hughes. You get a gold star.
So we can have a discussion.
So we can have a discussion, not because he thinks it's the right thing to do. All right, you get half a gold star.
Have a difference, I think, of philosophy. In my prior career, I wrote a lot of minutes. And I guess I would characterize my philosophy as being minimalist. I think the purpose of minutes, from my perspective, was to have a permanent record of official action taken by the body. Now, I have certainly
taking minutes and having an official record of the actions taken by the body. But okay, what about what led them to that official action? Isn't the discussion and the understanding of why, if I leave here right now, if I just stood up and I go get in my car and I drive it, I go find a cliff and drive it off a cliff, wouldn't you guys hope that I left a note and told you why I did it? Wouldn't you want to know why I did that action? Like, it's nice to know why people do the things they do. So, okay, we're just going 6 votes, 1 no, 6 votes, 1 no, 6 votes. That tells us nothing.
Minutes, they're everywhere from what I would characterize as my philosophy up to almost a transcript of a meeting. I worry that if we get into a lot of detail about discussions and who said what, we're putting a big burden on the auditor staff.
Listen to me. From what we know of the auditor staff and the auditor sitting right here, I'm surprised he was able to button his shirt for this video. Him and his staff, you know the reason the auditor needs 9 people working for him? Because they need to be able to count to 5. It takes 9 people to count to 5. You figure that out.
They have to, in essence, prepare a transcript, or they have to interpret what people said and condense it and edit it, and that's makes it more difficult for them. So I think we ought to have the
Lacey, how long it takes her to do the minutes that I showed you from City Council? Like asking Lacey how long it would take her to do minutes that were this long, and she says, "Oh, it takes me about 4 hours, about 4 hours out of the month." So she could literally work on it, 15 minutes a week. I mean, so it's not that been a big deal. Yeah, look, a happy medium between minimalist and a novel. Like, we're going to hear something that is, in my opinion, an excellent take. And bizarrely, it's going to come from Ryan Webb. All right, let's hear.
Discussion about exactly what we want to see in the minutes. I'm going to want to lean toward, our minutes this month were 15 pages long. I don't think we need 15 pages of minutes, right? But let's have that discussion and see if we can't come to a consensus of what we want the auditor staff to do for us.
Well, I appreciate the comments and thank you for the second. For the purpose of discussion, because it does need to be discussed, and with respect to what Councilmember Hughes said, believe me, he's definitely very experienced and he knows what he's talking about.
I have one opinion, that's all.
So I think, respect to what he said, obviously, yes, we want to be cognizant of the weight we put on the shoulders of the auditor's office. And I don't think a detailed verbatim description is necessary. Usually, I think what we've done in the past several years, at least since I've been a part of the council, is about a paragraph describing whatever the conversation is, and that pretty much gives the gist of what's taking place. And I think the city of Muncie, they do them like verbatim. I mean, every little word they're in there. I don't think we necessarily need to do that, but at the same time, I want to caution the council of, it seems to be a little bit of a trend. I've seen it in the Muncie Redevelopment Commission meetings. I've seen it in the Delaware County Commissioners meetings, and now we're talking about it in these meetings. People are wanting to go away from the detail in the minutes, and it's usually the same conversation. We don't want to put the burden on the auditor's office, but what we have to remind ourselves is we can't put the burden on the people. The burden on the people to go dig stuff that they should have access to. And we should always put that first and foremost at the people. We should make it easier for them at every turn to get involved with their government,
What an asshole.
know what's going on with their government, and not put burdens in place. It's great that we have the YouTube link, but we don't know what's going to happen to YouTube. Government could break them up tomorrow and say that they're a monopoly and be broken up. So I think that in 5 years from now, someone wants to go back to our minutes. I don't think a paragraph about what the discussion is unreasonable or should cause an unreasonable burden. They've been doing it for years and operating quite well.
Based on, I wasn't here last month, so I'm reading the minutes fresh.
Okay, this is going to be a very interesting take because Miami Vice wasn't here. So we're going to get to hear what he thinks because he wasn't here. So he's reading these minutes and I don't know if he watched the meeting. I get the impression that he did not, which kind of shocks me. But we'll hear what he has to say.
The transfers are the only things that really don't have too much.
He recently has been on the campaign for Stephen Brand, and I would believe that he's going to be on Stephen Brand's campaign moving forward into November. All right? Keep that in mind. Stephen Brand is running on communication and in transparency. All right? So we would think that someone in locking step with Stephen Brand, who Stephen Brand seemed pretty in line and in lockstep with Ryan. He's going to agree with us, right, Matt Kantz? You're going to agree that, yeah, these should be done in pretty, we should have at least a paragraph per discussion, right? You're going to agree, right?
Much detail, but when necessary, it looks like you attach some detail. The ordinance and resolutions have detail associated with them. I mean, outside of giving Marissa or whoever some guidance on specifically what needs to include, because even the one you arguing for, it did state that you had a discussion about whether or not that transfer was necessary or not. So, I mean, we have to either provide some specific...
Whoa. You're going the wrong way on this, Matt. This is real scary. This scares me, and I'll be honest, and it sucks. It sucks because I've been told over and 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 over that when I support a candidate, that they get either helped or hurt because of who I am and what I say and what I do. Therefore, you're helping Mr. Brand. Unfortunately, I'm scared that it might hurt Brand because you now seem to be speaking against communication and transparency. I don't like that. What do you mean? Listen, to say, well, the minutes say that you had a discussion is not the same thing as detailing what that discussion is. If I said on Tuesday, May 28th, Kristopher Bilbrey got on at 9:12 and for 47 minutes had a discussion, that doesn't mean anything. However, if I said Kristopher Bilbrey discussed his displeasure with people not liking things about his show, and then he got into the minutes, and then he talked about Ryan Webb, and then he talked about the Delaware, that would make some sense. I'll get on there and I'll look as I play forward. Let's play forward. I believe they're very minimalist, but that was even in place before Brand. That was in place by the lady who does them, and she does, I think, a very shitty job. I will look.
I think, or, let Marissa, or somebody can explain to us what the guidance is, or Ed, maybe you guys can just talk through what your thoughts are, and then we can say that's great or no, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. Because it does appear that in the detail for things like ordinances, resolutions, there is work being done to include that. Transfers, for the most part, employee transfers particularly, are going to go away. So those aren't really going to be on here. So maybe that means that we can put a little more detail. I don't know. I just wanted to state from the Office of the Public Access Counselors what the minimum standard is. Again, anything above and beyond that is up to the council. But
listen what Mr. Jessica Piper has to say here.
The memoranda of the meetings must contain the date, time, and place of the meeting, the members of the governing body being recorded as either present or absent, general substance of all matters proposed, discussed, or decided, and a record of all votes taken by individual members if there is a roll call. That's the standard. I just wanted to set that out there, and then you can go from there however you'd like.
So in your opinion, did we meet that standard?
I think generally speaking, yes. The standard, I don't think this body has ever had an issue with the date and time of the meeting, who was there,
No.
what was voted on, and
Right.
what the roll call.
We've never
I
had a
think
problem
just
with that.
about every
That's
decision
not
is
what we're
made by
talking
roll call
about.
vote, so there's always a tally of who said yes, who said no. So really,
Right.
it's I think what you're actually discussing is the quote general substance of all matters proposed, discussed, or decided, and I think that's up to the body to determine how much detail you think is necessary in your own minutes or memoranda. But yes, I think you do very clearly meet the legal requirement.
Not only do we have the YouTube, we also have an audio recording, and those have been going on for years. So we actually save that data here, so it's not preserved and stored by a third party. So there's public record, can be accessed by the public at any point in time or request. So it's really up to the council. I mean, within reason, we'll do whatever the council would like for us to do. So if you want full details, we can provide that. If not, you give us guidance on what you're expecting.
Yeah, I've been pleased with what we've been provided, both the recording and the YouTube. I mean, I understand, Ryan, where you're coming from with YouTube possibly going away at some point, but there are other
YouTube's not going away, but
sources that are saved and stored, so you can get every single word if you need to.
Right.
I think I lean more with Bill on this one.
I think it's important to notice there's a difference, so I understand exactly what you're saying. What I'm referencing is a point in the last several months, we've shied away from a reasonable level of detail to the bare minimum and to what Mr. Freeman said.
keep in mind what he is saying. In the last several months, the auditor's office has went from doing a reasonable amount of work on their minutes, a reasonable amount, to scratching the bare minimum. Yeah, like Kate says, since December, I would say those are the last minutes posted online, first of all. They don't post them online at all anymore. Ed apparently can't find what closet's online in. Okay, but he's changing the minutes. Now, also for the record, someone asked Charlize said, what do the minutes for the sanitary district board meeting look like? And I'm happy to say that they look pretty detailed. They at least give a paragraph per each topic discussed. Sometimes even more so. So I went back through a couple of them, and they do present to me it's a good representation of what's going on and what you would want. All right, going on back to this meeting here. This is important. What he's saying here is probably the whole crux of the argument.
We have to decide, do we want to be a council where we meet the bare minimum, the legally mandated floor, or are we going to be representatives who strive to go above and beyond the minimum and make it easier for the people?
What are you talking about, Jack?
To just meet the minimum.
The auditor's office?
Governments all over the state do that, but.
So do you have specifics that you want changed in these minutes?
Yes, I do. I said it when I first spoke. I think about a paragraph description of what the conversation is should be necessary. My entire 3.5 years on the council, that's what we've had. And just until the last couple of months, we've not had that. Under each transcript. Well, if there's a discussion, if it's a routine.
If there's a discussion, listen, and I think I also feel like, man, I remember when my high school English teacher would be like, you guys need to write paragraphs. It would freak me out. No, paragraphs. But then, really, that's not that bad. I realized, well, paragraph could be like 3 sentences. It could be 4 or 5 sentences. A paragraph is not bad. Put in the bloody description of what happened. A Tweety Bird Tweety Bird, since these idiots took over. Listen, I say this as a conservative. Since the Republican Party in Indiana became scared of the public, how can a deaf person review the minutes? Good question there, Dave. Good question. How would Helen Keller have reviewed the minutes? I don't even know. I don't know. Good question.
Mundane, somebody gets up to the podium and we vote and that's it. That's one thing. But if there's a 10-15 minute back and forth dialogue, some of that should be included in there. I mean, you're not going to get that. And
Is it fair that
somebody disagreed with the transfer?
is it fair that the only spot that's not happening is under transfers?
Well, for example,
What is the hang up with the transfers? Listen again, Mr. Kantz. If there is a topic that there is a discussion to, you don't have to put word for word, but give a description of that discussion. If something gets up and they say, "Oh, we want to vote," okay, boom, bam, pow, it's voted on, then do that. It's simple.
let me just give you a couple examples. So for last month's meeting, we had a significant back and forth about a transfer of, I think it was give or take $20,000, about moving some TVs a little bit closer or not moving them closer or moving some switches. And there was a pretty decent conversation about it. It was in front of the courts. Yes, Matt, you wasn't here for that, but it's a decent conversation. Took about 10-15 minutes. You would think that would somewhere be noted in here other than just,
It says Miss Emily Anderson Courts and Councilman Webb had discussion on if the transfer is needed.
Listen. He just read what was okay. That is the best understanding. That is the best understanding. Okay, listen. Kantz just read what they're wanting to pass off as bare minimum. Listen to what Kantz read again. Listen to it.
Give or take $20,000, about moving some TVs a little bit closer or not moving them closer or moving some switches. And there was a pretty decent conversation about it. It was in front of the courts. Yes, Matt, you wasn't here for that, but it's a decent conversation. Took about 10-15 minutes. You would think that would somewhere be noted in here other than just,
It says Miss Emily Anderson Courts and Councilman Webb had discussion on if the transfer is needed.
Emily Anderson and Ryan Webb had a discussion about the details needed. That's all he said.
That's what the line in the minute.
right. So you weren't here. So do you understand what happened with that? From reading that?
No.
There you go. That's
Ding,
my
ding,
point.
ding, 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 ding.
Well,
That's all we
of it.
needed to hear. Right there, Ryan just saved the day and made it clear for everybody. Kantz thought he was being big and bad and reading what happened. Well, that's what happened there. It says there's a discussion in here. Ryan says, "You weren't here. Can you read that and can you tell me what happened?" And Kantz said no.
That would be,
I rest my case.
But do we expect that Marissa's going to be able to capture that 15-minute conversation in a paragraph that's going to...
You don't need to
capture it every month. Okay. I don't think we should go backwards from what we've been doing for the last several years. Is what I'm getting at. I'm not asking for more. I just think we should maintain what we've been doing.
I'm not asking for more.
The minutes. And I think relative to a discussion on what needs to be included in the minute, that's probably a separate. I think the minutes will be amended next month. Is that correct, Ben? If we decide we want to add more to it, the amendment or the minutes can be amended at your pleasure. They're your minutes. That's what we're on. So I think we need to have a discussion about how much detail you want to bring it back to the discussion of the auditor's office. I think we can approve these minutes and amend them next and have whatever you want. What would be the difference of approving them and then amending them versus tabling them?
Just go on the official record now.
It's just not an official record.
What if it's not the official record? If they're going to be amended, then it's
Otherwise,
not
they're
the
not
official
going to
record.
be, they don't get posted until we approve them.
Well, I mean, council members can vote however they choose to vote, but just to be clear, what I'm asking for, what I'm saying that I think is necessary is just a paragraph description. I think most people could get the gist of what's taken a paragraph of 14 times. I mean, if we want to know how to do that, all we'd have to do is look back 2 minutes, 6 months ago and see how they were done. But that's what when I think of this and envision what an average person would want. Not that the average person is going and digging up minutes, but we need to have them available for them if they want.
If they so choose.
So I never done that minutes before.
Look, I got it in a sentence.
We'd just like to have that paragraph.
What?
I got a sentence.
Okay. Yeah, that would be that absolutely. Webb expressed concerns about the cost of the 20,000 to be moved in the TV and asked if there were alternative options. Absolutely.
That covers it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, you could get that 15-minute conversation down to 2 sentences.
Sure. Yeah. Charlize says the minutes of this discussion will be fun to read. They won't be in there. They won't be there. But yeah. That Kate, that is perfect. That is absolutely perfect.
Amended is that?
Yeah, I think my position is we should amend the minutes. The reason why I said table them is to give the auditor's office time to amend them, because I don't amend them here in the meeting. And the other part is just moving forward. I think we should have, when there's relevant discussion, a paragraph or 2 description of the discussion. Which is what we've had in the past, up to this point. I'm just arguing us not go backwards.
Question on the motion.
And I want to be clear here, folks, because I see everybody saying, that they're agreeing with what he's saying. Listen, I understand that Ryan is not everybody's cup of tea. I understand that there are people out there that feel hurt by his thoughts and hurt by his opinions and hurt by the way he speaks. There are people that offend me by things that they say. There are people that hurt me by things that they say, but it's if I show them that hurt, if I give them the ability to hurt me, like I said, I'm a different creature, and I tend to only be. I do not want to disappoint somebody ever. I never want to disappoint somebody. I never want to disappoint someone. If I hurt someone that I care about or someone that I respect, someone I look up to, and that person hurts my feelings, that hurts. To hear someone speak ill of me or ill of a group that I belong with or ill of my family or ill whatever, and like Mike Jones or James King, I could give a rip less, man. I could not care. Here's what bothers me about this. The other people sitting in this meeting are sitting there looking and thinking about Ryan like he is just such a troublemaker. Jack. I love it. He is sitting there. They're sitting there saying into themselves, Ryan is he's just stirring up trouble. This is all Ryan does. He's making a scene out of nothing. We've been talking about this 20 minutes. We don't need to be talking about this. Folks, that's what I want elected officials to do. That's something that I want. When he's gone, who's going to do it? Is Jessica going to do it? Is Kant's going to do it? Is Hughes going to do it?
Question.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Flanagan? No. Mr. Hughes? Yes.
So Flanagan voted no. Hughes voted yes.
Webb?
Yes.
Hold on. Let's get this again.
Cantz. Abstain.
Cantz abstained.
Piper.
No.
Three.
Motion fails.
Fails for lack of a majority.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Cantz abstained. Piper was a no. Flanagan was a no. Mokel was a yes. Webb was a yes. Hughes was a yes. And Whitehead was a no. So because Cantz abstained, which was a easy way out, and I'll explain why in a minute, it was a tie of 3-3, and it died for lack of a winning vote. So I'm okay with somebody abstaining on the minutes if they weren't there, but this wasn't about approving minutes. This was about tabling the minutes, and I very easily feel that Cantz could have voted, but this was Cantz trying to ride the fence, to have a foot over in the Jessica side of things and to have a foot over in the Brand side of things, over in the Webb side of things. And that, my friend, is not going to get you in a good spot. And it's disgusting. And I'm sad. I'm sad that he's still doing this after what he witnessed in this election, in what he's witnessing with Brand and all that. I'm just sad that he's still that way.
All right, so motion to approve.
Now Jessica's like, okay, well, we wasted that time. Now let's approve these damn minutes. Now they vote to approve the minutes. So what should happen here, since it just voted to table and it died 3-3, it should die when they vote to approve the minutes, right? Let's listen.
23rd April County Council meeting minutes, please. Roll call.
I moved the motion to approve those.
Thank you.
And she didn't even know what to do because she's so scared. She fumbles over all of her words. I don't understand what the hell she does. So now let's listen to what happens.
I got ahead of myself. Thank you. Motion by Dan, second by Eugene. Now a roll call, please.
Flanagan. Yes. Hughes. No.
Flanagan was a yes to push them through. Hughes voted no again. That's good.
Mr. Mokel. Yes.
Mokel, he flipped his vote. Mokel went from a no to a yes. What in the hell?
Mr. Webb. No.
Webb was no.
Whitehead. Yes.
Whitehead was yes.
Abstain. Piper.
Yes.
Cantz abstained, which is fine. This is the one he should have abstained from, so I'm fine with. Piper was a yes. So they push through these minutes that are not proper, 4-2, and it's a bunch of horse shit. Just, folks.
All right. Yeah.
I cannot understand it. I cannot wrap my mind around that. All right, keep your mind on that. Keep your mind. Just think about that. Okay. Now we're gonna go further on into the meeting.
This is for, I'm sorry, I was writing that down.
And for anyone in Delaware County, you should watch this whole meeting. But we're gonna jump forward. We're gonna jump forward here.
Which one are we on here?
10. What was 9, which is now 10. The
Tax abatement.
Is this the tax abatement?
yes.
Okay. We're on the discussion phase.
Yes.
Good deal.
We have a lot of papers to go through today.
Oh, well. I'm aware of what it is. Okay. Well, and, just to start off the discussion, I brought this up in, I think, what Councilmember Hughes said was our March meeting, and obviously there's been a couple missteps here, and no fault of the applicant, thank you, Mr. Mokel, no fault of the applicant, as far as the ERA and those kinds of things. I do, think it's important to note though that through their own admission of the applicant is the application was submitted for the tax abatement after the fact, once it was known that that was a tool available. And I just, for the record, want to state my interpretation of a tax abatement process is to entice or to lure a company to locate or relocate to build in Delaware County. It is not to give someone an added discount, if you will, or a bonus or a lifeline. I don't think they need a lifeline. That's not the right words, but basically, an addition to their bottom line is kind of what this appears to be. So just for the record, I wanted to put that out there, and I believe our tax abatement process should be safe for companies that we are luring to Delaware County and enticing them to build, not ones who have already chosen to build and have already built.
That seems like what it should be for.
And I will counter that with, we give tax abatements to companies that improve all the time.
Correct. And that's what I was going to say, is we've had in the past, and Ryan, I can't remember if it was when you've been on council or not, but we've had manufacturing companies come in and they're wanting to purchase new equipment. Like I know we had Indiana Ticket and we had Magna come in and they were buying, all kinds of new machinery to do things. And we did accept their tax abatement request for the machinery. So they were already here in Delaware County. Now, I mean, to your point too, it's not this property owner's fault. I mean,
well, it kind of is.
Well, yeah, but like
I appreciate that Matt said that.
That's true, and that's what I was going to say about that. Is that Ryan, in this instance, is correct that it was after the fact, and our economic development group or whomever, when working with this group, probably should have brought that up at that time. So it is an after the fact move, and I probably would vote no had it not be specific to this very vital, very necessary childcare, facility being put in. So I would agree with him that, but in essence, it was after the fact.
It's still the intention of the tax abatement committee to establish some guidelines, because we have no written guidelines about our tax abatement program.
Yeah, we just do willy-nilly whatever the hell, whatever friends we can benefit whenever. Not saying that's what happened here.
That the application needs to be filed before contracts are signed or purchase orders for equipment or whatever. That's very common in other jurisdictions. We just have never had a rule. So
go figure that one.
So, and I'm going to endeavor to try to get that done in the next 30 days, because I know of at least one organization that's intending to apply for tax abatement, and we need to be able to tell them what the rules are. So we'll try to get that done for the June meeting.
Any additional discussion?
Thanks, Bill. I'd like to go back to Bill's comment. The people that you're currently visiting with or that you know of, if we would adopt a resolution next month, is this something that they would qualify for under the new guidelines or not qualify for? Well, the guidelines haven't been written yet, but I have advised them what we intend to do as far as establishing
Jack,
guidelines.
I saw that.
Those guidelines are adopted by this council prior to them
The rapist for $100, Alex.
They will be expected to comply.
I was just talking to Kate about that the other day.
I don't know what their timetable is, and honestly, I don't have enough detail to be able to tell you where they fall in the range of what their project is.
Right. Good. Roll call, please.
Ms. Blanken? Yes. Ms. Hughes? Yes. Mr. Mokel? Yes. Mr. Webb? No. Mr. Wyatt? Yes. Mr. Cantz? Yes. Ms. Piper?
Yes. All right, thank you. Now let's move over to the last resolution, which is the drop program.
Okay, that was that. I was just letting you hear what happened there, the back and forth about whether or not we should have standard operating procedure for these things or no. All right, from there, we're going to jump ahead to the $15 tax on folks that are mobile home buyers and might be a little hard up or whatever. and we're going to listen to what happens there. That's 135. Let me get up to there. 135.05.
Yes. That's Coco. Yes. That's Webb. Yes. That's Wyatt. Yes. That's Camp. Yes. That's Piper.
Yes. All right, it's done. It is done.
She is so fake. Ugh.
All right, moving on to our second reading of ordinance 2024-09. This is an ordinance establishing a processing fee for mobile home transfers and moving permits prepared by the Delaware County Treasurer. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
That motion by you, Ryan,
Yes, ma'am.
and second by Matt.
What department are you? What department are you? Treasurer's fund number.
The fund.
Oh. 127. I don't remember. That's me. I got my index. I'm not focused.
Put that in there.
No, that's not bad. That's the half one.
Who's just mumbling bizarrely?
That's me.
That
All right, so
Brad
we've had a month
Polk?
to process this. Does anyone have any additional questions or comments for the treasurer?
Brad, did you have to come back with some numbers from other counties? I did. I looked online, as well as put it out for individual counties on our email thread. I got a response of about 20 to 25 counties. The going rate was, there was one that was $10, there was one that was 25, and everybody else was in the $15 to $20 range. So that's why we stuck with 15. That was the majority of other counties was 15 dollars. Of course, you don't know, you didn't write it, so you don't know how long it's been at 15. Yeah, I don't know. I know one of the counties, I found their ordinance. It was from like 5 years ago. So, yeah. There's 15.
You're right,
yeah.
David LaRue.
You know, I know Ryan's going to comment, and certainly appreciate that. When I
Jack.
was, several.
Sorry, for those of you that have been talking, I've been on another screen. Sorry.
I went to the treasurer. No, recorder's. Thank you. Recorder's office, and I was inquiring about a legal description. And they pulled it up. I needed 7 different legal descriptions that day. One for myself, one for a buying agent, one for the buyers, and one for the sellers. And they pulled them up, and in advance I told them that I needed a copy of each. But then once I got those, I'm like, well, I really need 3 more for a total of 4 copies. And they informed me that they were $1 a piece per copy. Now, taxpayers are paying for the machines, the laser printers, the paper. People are already there. Taxpayers are paying for all that. Nevertheless, rather than taking a $28 charge, I went ahead and just got 7 copies. And in my opinion, that's kind of what we're talking about here.
I know he's going to comment.
That there can be a charge, in my opinion, associated with what you folks are doing. Not to say, well, everybody else is doing it, therefore we should do it. I don't think that's the point. Number one. Number two, whether we adopt or not adopt, and whatever the monetary amount is, it's really not going to amount into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Point is that there should be, in my opinion, a charge. Last month, I thought that charge, in essence, for 2024, I thought a $25 charge would be reasonable. I know that you've indicated that many others are charging 15, and for me, and I think maybe some other people as well, and maybe not, I'm not speaking for them, a $20 charge if somebody comes in and a $20 bill would be common. I just feel like that's.
What? He's raising it?
applicable
He's
in
raising it?
today's
With,
world.
without being asked?
Yeah. And I'm not gonna argue
15 to
with
20?
obviously raising that up. I mean, it is
What?
a fee, not a
Jim.
tax. It is a fee, a service fee for individuals to come in, just like they would if they went to the
Ludicrous.
DMV and did one on their vehicle. It's going to be a cost on that. If you go buy a car at the dealership, you're going to pay a title transfer fee, but you're also going to pay a service charge for that. And a lot of times it's $50
Yeah,
for
Alva.
them to go and process your title. Right. And so that's what this is. It's not it's a fixed charge. It is a fee. It's a service fee, and that's up to the council if they want to change.
If you want to make it 20, hell, what's $30?
15. I think it would just slow down. Our main intention is just to slow down. Example, just 2 weeks ago, we had a park send a transfer for the 5th time this year. That's once a month.
Oh, no.
Oh, 5 in a month. I'm sorry. 5 and yeah. That's not even 5 months. It's 1 month.
On the title, they wanted to change the amount on the title. Then they spelled the name wrong when they sent it in 5 times in a month.
How many, roughly, like, how many of these transactions, like, what do you expect a $15 revenue or service fee to bring
So
in?
last year we had 412. Obviously, how many of those were, just like Kathy said, where they wanted to change the name? Oh, well, we forgot to put our LLC on there, so let's do it again. So I think it's going to cut that number down. I was running some numbers during the meeting. I'm going to guess between 250 and 300 would be a minimum that we would do.
I figured, Greg.
At $15, that's $3,750 to $4,500 of revenue generated for the office. So that we can use to purchase computers, equipment, that kind of stuff. That obviously we're using that. I believe our copier is at least 7 or 8 years old, and so eventually it's going to need replaced. And we right now currently do not have that in our budget to do that. So
I'm kind of in agreement with Mr. Noble that $20 would be easier for you, and in today's world, to replace a copier several thousand, and you spend a lot of time with copiers with these things.
Yeah, I'd like to add a couple things here. So,
Of course,
last month when he was here, Mr. Bolton, and we did the first reading on this, I expressed some concerns about the people who will be impacted by this user fee. I know our permit fee. I think it's a tax, but I understand your reference as a user fee. And the people who's going to be impacted this are the most vulnerable people of our population.
Oh, they don't like when I show up.
Together to buy a home. This is only for trailer homeowners, not renters, correct? Right? Yes, it's not homeowners. They scraped up enough money to buy a home. It's a trailer home.
No, Karen, what they're talking about is they're talking about documents that have an embossed stamp on them, so it's not just the 10 cents copy. It's like $1 a page if it's color, and if they have to have them embossed stamped. But then they're not talking about $20. They're not talking about like $20 for a copy. They're talking about like a $20 for running this service of putting this title in and going through the computer and changing it. So it's like they're calling it a service fee.
Them and our population, Delaware County, I think we ranked last time I checked 89th out of 92 in average medium income. We're one of the poorest counties in the entire state of Indiana. I believe Muncie alone, 25% poverty rate. So when we're putting extra burden on people who are just trying to make it, get a home, that concerns me. Now, I don't have any of that sympathy that I just expressed The sympathy that I just expressed for the average young person, young couple, young family trying to make it in life, that sympathy does not extend to corporations. I know you've expressed that a lot of these mobile home parks are owned by corporations, many of them from out of state. For me to get on board with this, I would like to see a modification to include, for example, I'm just gonna, just like number 2 here, it says effective June 1st, the Delaware County Treasurer's Office will charge and collect a permit fee in the amount of $15 for each permit issued. For me, I would like to amend that and say for each permit issued for any LLC or incorporated company or any transfer after the original. Because what you had stated was this is multiple issues that's the problem, not someone coming in there one time, but someone coming in there 4 times, 5 times. Mobile home parks that are owned by companies in other states. My only interest is to protect the average person who lives here in Delaware County who is not part of the problem that you're describing. So I would be in favor. I would like to offer an amendment to this resolution.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, this ordinance, to include LLCs.
See, that makes sense. What
and any
Ryan's saying.
corporation, outside of just an average family buying a mobile home on their own.
Could I throw something in?
Please.
Mr. Wood, thank you. Obviously, if you have one individual come in last month and they wanted 5 different, what are they? They're not licenses, right? Or are they titles? Titles, thank you. Do you have a capacity to, for example, if we said, will not collect for the first one, so an application. So the first one, anybody can come in and the first one is free. Any additional in that same calendar year would be at an additional expense of whatever the amount is that we possibly would determine.
Yeah,
That's right, Jack.
so the problem with that is monitoring that and on a daily basis. I mean, and once they figure out, the LLCs figure it out, they're probably going to do something different to offset that, to where we have to monitor every single one that comes in. I don't have time for that. When it's tax season, we don't have time. But any time of the year, really. I mean, we work with 2 cashiers, a head cashier, and a chief deputy out there.
Okay,
Not only that, and I'm sorry, Kathy Butterfield, Delaware County Treasurer's Office, but not only that, IT does a file. We scan those in and those go into a file. That file goes to the assessor's office so they can update in our PVD system with who the owner is and all their data. That can go over each month. So if that file goes over, that file is moved out of our system and already into the assessor's office. So they'll have to find another way through IT for us to be able to monitor it for a full year.
So how do you guys?
And then not only that, the majority of the people who come in for a title transfer are the corporations. There are individuals who sell their mobile homes, but they're not people who continually come in. I'm selling. I need to change my name. They literally stand there. They're looking at the paper. My name is spelled correct. The address is correct. That amount is correct. We're done. Stamp it, seal it. You're out. We don't see them again because they live in that home. That's theirs. These corporations, they go through a sale. They'll get it all the way to the end, and then they'll say that sale fell. So we need to come get a new title transfer permit within 2 days because we've sold it to this person. Go all the way through. Oh, this failed. It failed. We're not selling it. We need another title transfer permit. Or they're notorious for, we forgot to put the LLC on. We spelled this wrong. We changed the price on it so we could sell it. I mean, it's just, that is the biggest portion of this.
You had to make a guess. 75% of transactions, 90% of transactions
For corporations,
that are doing.
I'd say at least 85, 90.
So,
Individuals sell them, but not nowhere near like the mobile home parks.
right, and so I can appreciate what Ryan's trying to do. It's one, to me, technically unfeasible to try to differentiate, and two, there's so few transactions that are affected by that we're not solving anything by avoiding that.
That's not true, actually. And they did just differentiate it. You just sit there and heard her explain. They can tell the difference between a person coming in buying it for their own home and a company who's changing it. You just said it. You can tell the difference when they're in there. So we can easily tell the difference between who's a family buying their home and who's a corporation
Yep.
doing the same thing over and over and over again. And what a lot of these corporations do, or these trailer parks do, they'll buy the trailer park and then they sell them to an individual. I know people who just purchased one. So they are fairly frequent. I mean, didn't you say last time, brother, it was like 400 mobile homes?
Yeah, we had like we had 400, permits that we did last year. Of those 400, I would say we might have 30 individuals, maybe not even that many in a year's time selling an actual trailer. The rest are going to be your mobile home parks. The problem I think with what you're saying, Councilman Webb, is that you can, I think that we could get into trouble for not charging this guy, but charging this guy because you're discriminating against corporations in that situation. And we could open ourselves up for a lawsuit, honestly. Well, to what council member local had mentioned, how difficult would it be, like we said, to waive the initial one? The problem is tracking that to where you come in, but then 9 months from now, your paperwork is already over at the assessor's office. What is an initial one? A new trailer being done?
Yeah, if you're selling a mobile home and I buy it, I come in and register it. I just said they can.
But it's probably transferred 10 times before that. So how would you differentiate what an initial one is?
Each new buyer, as a new buyer, would have to pay the transfer fee. You can only be a buyer once unless you're doing it multiple times like they described.
Is that feasible for you guys to even know?
It would be very tough. I mean, I don't have the personnel to do that.
Oh.
Especially when this all came in, during tax week, for instance, we had a park send more than 30 permits during tax season, that week of tax collection, when people are paying their taxes and we have to pull somebody off of what they're doing, collecting taxes that run this county to do a mobile home permit. I can't then take a second person or just keep that person off the line. Looking up, did they have a mobile home? Oh, yep, they did back in January. I don't have time for that. I mean, I don't see that would be such a problem. Like I said, it impacts, you're probably talking 30 people. It's part of closing costs. I mean, you can put that in. I mean, you go close on a house, you're going to spend $3,000 or $4,000. I mean, Councilman Mocha would know that, exactly what the numbers are. This is a $15 fee.
A lot of times in residential, the buyers are asking the sellers to pay their closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up too.
It could be the seller.
I'm buying it off a corporation, they're going to pay that fee.
Yeah.
And if you're buying it, you're only paying that fee one time. The LL or the corporations are going to be the one, and I'm sure they're going to try to put it on. But if it didn't sell, they're not getting their money out of that. So the corporation is paying that $15 each time, unless they can find a way to pass that fee on to the person who backed out of the sale. But if you are buying a mobile home today and you bring it in and you transfer it, you pay that $15 one time, and unless you sell it to someone else, and you don't even pay it if you sell it to someone else, your person that buys it from you is going to come in and pay that $15. So it's a one-time fee of $15 for you to transfer that. Unless you come in and say, okay, 6 years later, I want to put it in my child's name in case something happens. Then you get another fee.
I guess I'm trying to understand, why are we doing transfers anyway if a sale hasn't went through?
Well, we've been fighting that for.
And it's part of the state code that we
How
have.
it works.
Used to it was the BMV that did it. Now it falls on the treasurers.
And they have to have that title transfer to go to the BMV. And
Yeah.
then the closers for the trailers have to have their title transfer permit. Everything has to be at closing for them to sign. And then it goes to the BMV.
BMV.
But if it doesn't go, if it comes to us to get the transfer, then they have their meeting to close and they back out of the sale. Well, we already have the transfer. We have no sale.
And then we get to start all over again. The whole process.
That's what we're trying to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you guys making the effort to explain all that. Okay. There hasn't been a motion made on any.
We have a motion by Ryan and a second by Matt, you,
Oh, for the actual,
for this, yeah,
approval.
so,
we have a discussion about the $15 fee.
would you like to make an amendment?
I would like to amend it to 20.
Huh.
I would second that.
So we have an amendment on the floor, motion by Dan, second by Jim. Roll call on the amendment of $15 to 20. Roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan. Yes. Mr. Hughes. No. Mr. Mokel. Yes. Mr. Webb. No. Mr. Wyatt. No. Mr. Cantz. Yes. Ms. Piper.
Yes. All right, so now we've changed this to $20.
Wow.
And I'll take a motion as amended.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Matt. Roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan. Yes. Mr. Hughes. Yes. Ms. Mokel. Yes. Mr. Webb. No. Mr. Wyatt. Yes. Mr. Cantz. Yes. Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Holy crap. All right, now we go
Okay.
right into
Next
this.
up, we have a review of from the Code of Conduct Committee.
Yes.
Code of conduct.
I handed out to all the council a copy of the Code of Conduct that I'd like to introduce, and after talking with Mr. Freeman, just present this as a first reading of the resolution.
Okay.
Is that my format? I'd like that. Is that how I'm looking at it? No, well, I think, in the event the council decides to adopt the code of conduct, I think we would probably do it as a resolution, but my understanding was he wanted to introduce this so that you could all review it, and if there wouldn't be any action taken on it today in case there were any questions, comments, and I mean, if I read over it, yeah, this is just get it in your hands and we'll put it on the agenda for next month.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions or comments or?
I do have a comment on, part of it. Actually, I have a question on some of it, I'll comment on other parts of it. So, first I'll ask a question. So on the compliance and enforcement, see on here a public letter of censure. Previous experiences, I thought it, could we clarify if councils can censure? Because I thought before that that's something they do on a national level, not necessarily on a local government level. Can someone clarify that?
Because we had nothing established.
If you're asking for my opinion, I think, you would adopt these, which would give the council the ability to censure, but I think the council previously could have, if they had so chosen, at any time, adopt a resolution stating their opinion on anything, which could be in effect, a censure on an individual as discussed in this document. So I don't know that this necessarily changes anything. So if I'm hearing you correctly, having it in writing is what would allow it, and not having anything in writing is what prevented it before, correct? No, I think this body is always free to adopt a resolution expressing, some resolutions actually impact some legal process or procedure. Some, we've passed resolutions before expressing a favorable opinion on some sort of economic development or against maybe potential state action by the legislature or something like that. I think
Similarly, a resolution by the council stating its positive or negative opinion on someone's conduct, you know, either another council member or somebody that they've appointed to another body. I think this council always has that ability. This is then also just setting up a code of conduct and stating that one of the potential actions by the council for a breach of the code of conduct could be a censure.
All right, for the record, I want to let everybody know what a censure is. Essentially, censuring somebody at this point would be solely possibly pulling them off of any committees that they are on and not letting them vote in those. They can't stop someone from voting in the council meetings, and they can't pull someone off of the council. Now, the Muncie City government, the state law allows them to vote, and for them to have a vote if they want to work through the process of removing. I think Muncie's, man, I don't know how that would be. I need to look back and see. They have the power to investigate one another, or something else, but you know, that's all the further they can do. Yeah, I had someone sent me a picture of it, but it was too grainy and I was not able to see. I wasn't actually able to see. So for the person that's out there, if you're able to send me another picture of this, please do. But I was unable to actually pull the copy of this up.
So I think it's maybe more readily defining something that was already in place. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. The other question I have is on number 3, conduct members shall refrain from rudeness, disrespectful comments, insults, name calling, use of conduct, personal charges, or verbal attacks upon the character or motives of other members of council or other appointees, county personnel, or the public. That's a pretty broad range of interpretation. Disrespectful comments or rude or insults. Who interprets that? We would, as council, interpret that. I mean, I assume everybody has their own compass of morals and trying to encase that. Of course, those you're talking about basic morals. I totally understand that. But what I'm getting at is, like, nowadays, there's a lot of things that could be considered as rude or disrespectful. I'm a traditional conservative. I make it very well known. I don't believe that a man can become a woman or a woman can become a man. Some people might take that as being rude comment or disrespectful. I don't think they are. That's the type of things that I'm referencing. And when we're talking about personal charges or obviously character, I totally get that. But when we're talking about should refrain from personal charges on the character or motives or other members of the council or appointees, what does that mean? Like other motives of a council and appointees. And you're wanting to know, like, if somebody recuses themselves from a discussion and why they would or wouldn't, or abstains. I mean, that's where it gets into maybe there's personal motive that needs to be refrained from getting into with other council members. Okay.
And that don't even make sense what he said there.
I mean, take it home, digest it, and we can have lots more discussion. I appreciate the explanation on that. I was just curious about what that meant. Is this sit on top of like Robert's Rules of Order kind of thing? I mean, do we even have that? Sit on top of that? I mean, basically, when you read it, every individual sitting up there should maintain a good code of conduct when especially when they have a council member in front of their names. And this is not gonna sit on top of that. It wouldn't sit on top of the rules that we've
Who's talking?
adopted. This just goes along with it on trying to be
I don't know. I've
good
ever
member of
heard this
any
person
board
talk
that we're
ever. Is
either
this
a part of or
Whitehead?
that we
Oh my
appoint
God.
people to.
Okay, any further questions? All right, so sit on it, digest it. If you have questions, the committee, Eugene heads it up, and then Bill and Dan are the other members that can help answer any of those questions. All right, up next, board appointments. We do
Okay,
have two coming up.
Here's what the code of conduct is. I just got the first page sent to me. Delaware County Council Code of Conduct. This code of conduct is adopted to apply to the members of the Delaware County Council and all persons appointed to their positions by the council appointees to ensure public confidence in the integrity of local government and its effective, open, and fair operation. In addition, the code of conduct is to apply to the idea that when one member or appointee does what? In addition, the code of conduct is to apply to the idea that what any one member or appointee does has an impact on the effectiveness and actions of the whole council in both positive and negative ways. To this end, the following standards are established. 1. Act in the public interest. Recognizing that stewardship of the public interest must be their primary concern, members and appointees will work for the common good of the people of Delaware County and not for any private or personal interest, and they will ensure fair and equal treatment to all persons, claims, transactions coming before the Delaware County Council, boards, committees, and commissions. Comply with the law. Members and appointees shall comply with the laws of the United States of America, the state of Indiana, and Delaware County in the performance of their public duties. These laws include, but are not limited to, the United States Constitution, the Indiana Constitution, and all federal, state, and local laws pertaining to conflict of interest, election campaigns, financial disclosures, employer responsibilities, and open processes of government, the county policies, and the county policies and procedures. Conduct of members. The professional and personal conduct of members and appointees must be above reproach and avoid even the appearance of impropriety. Members and appointees shall refrain from rudeness, disrespectful comments, insults, name calling, abusive conduct, personal charges, or verbal attacks upon the character or motives of another member of council, other appointees, county personnel, or the public. Respect for the process. Members and the appointees shall perform all their duties in accordance with the processes and the rule of order and established by the county council or its respective boards, committees, and commissions governing the deliberations of public policy issues. Meaningful involvement in the public and implementations of policy decisions of the county council by county personnel. Conduct of public meetings. Members and appointees shall prepare themselves for public issues, listen courteously and attentively to the public discussions before the body, and focus on the business at hand. Members and appointees shall refrain from interrupting other speakers, making personal comments not germane to the business of the body, or otherwise interfering with the orderly conduct of meetings. The public, members, and appointees shall feel safe in expressing their opinions and views and concerns. Conflicts of interest. In order to ensure the independence of the impartiality on behalf of the common good, members and appointees shall not use their office position to influence governmental decisions in which they have a material financial interest, or where they have an organizational responsibility or personal relationship which may give the appearance of some conflict of interest. Members and appointees shall disclose conflicts with investment, interest in real person or real property, sources of income, and gifts without being required to disclose the value of said conflicts. They shall abstain from participating in deliberations and decisions making where conflicts may exist. Independence of boards, committees, commissions, and appointees. Because of the value of the independent advice of boards, committees, and commissions to the public decision-making process, members of the council shall refrain from using their position to unduly influence the deliberation or outcome of boards, committees, or commissions' proceedings. Positive workplace environment. Members and appointees shall support the maintenance of positive and constructive workplace environment for county personnel and the citizens organizations dealing with the county. Members of the appointees shall recognize their limited role in dealing with county personnel and no way create perception of inappropriate direction to county personnel. Compliance and enforcement. The Delaware County Council Code of Conduct is intended to be self-enforcing. It is therefore becomes the most effective when members and appointees are thoroughly familiar with these code of and embrace its provisions. Members and appointees themselves have the primary responsibility to ensure that ethical standards are understood and met. The County Council, by majority vote, may also impose sanctions on members and appointees whose conduct does not comply with the county's ethical standards. Sanctions may include, but are not limited to, official verbal reprimand in an open meeting, formal public letter of censure, removal of appointee from a position, other recourses of action as they are made available by state statute with due process and agreed upon by the majority of the Delaware County Council. And then it's very strange to me that they left off illegal meetings. It's very strange that they left illegal meetings.
I wanted to make sure we got this in front of everyone's attention before those terms end. But we have 2 members for the Civic Center Authority Board, which is the board that disperses the food and beverage tax with the convention center. We have 2 Republicans to appoint on that, so I will get a communication out for applicants to apply.
Yeah, I'm sorry. President Piper, could you repeat that? Are both of those Civic Center Authority Boards?
They are both Civic Center Authority Boards, yep, because they would start their term in August.
And they both have to be Republicans?
Correct. And historically speaking, one of those, we've typically had someone from the council or the auditor's office on that board, but that's not required.
And that's currently you, right?
I am the, yes.
And when do you make the appointment?
2 years.
Okay, we will now jump forward
2-year term,
to
August 1st.
208.
When do we make the appointment?
We'll probably want to make that, because
Budgets are due by June 30th. Is that report gonna come out so that we can,
Listen to what happens here. This is very important. This is very big.
coming from 9/1, reference the salary study, as you know, budgets are due by June 30th. Is that report gonna come out so that we can do our budgets appropriately based on what the salary study says?
I'm gonna get to when we got to council comments, but the finance committee, we talked, and what we would like to see is if your budget falls into county general to hold off on any salary increases there, and we're going to put a large sum in our county council budget to be appropriated out for those salary increases.
Okay, so,
Well, I mean, if you have a fund outside of county general that doesn't impact the max levy,
I guess my question is, not knowing what the results of the salary.
They're changing how they're going. They're wanting to change how they do the budget every year. And so Fred from 911 asks this question.
Study are, because we only have that window, right? So I guess from my perspective, it would make more sense for departments to put in raises into their budget, because they can always be cut. You can't add is the
right,
issue.
which is what we're saying, we put in R, so it can be shared in county general. We've done that in the past.
I understand that, but I'm still of the opinion that you have to look at departments differently as well and not do like across the board stuff.
Okay.
So from my perspective, it makes more sense if department heads put the raises in their budget.
We're trying to, at least from a finance committee standpoint, we're taking a look at this study. It's very detailed. It's detailed from job categories, job descriptions. Things are going to be changed. Some of those things will be changing automatically. And then there's leveling that needs to be looked at. And then there's potentially increases. So all of that, I think our initial discussion has been, we will take the bucket and allocate it based on that form, and what's been presented to us and how we're going to deal with it versus trying to offset. Okay, well, Fred put this in, then we got to cross set what that shows against the study. It's going to be too complicated. So we're going to do it, I think, pushing to do it this way, because it'll give us the authority to look at that study, proactively determine where we think we can make moves, and then we'll be responsible for putting that money in.
There won't be
Moving it
anything
into
across
the
the board.
allocated department at that time.
I think the only way for department head to allocate for a raise is to actually put it in their budget. I think it becomes more convoluted when you put all the money in one pool,
Right, but
and then have to come and argue for money out of that pool.
You're
you're not gonna be arguing, we'll be determining it based on the salary study.
Me personally, I've always kind of, during the budget time, I've always held it against a department head if they didn't ask for what they wanted. If they
If they
wanted
don't put it
something,
in there,
I would say, well, then why didn't you
Yeah.
ask for that in your budget? So, I mean, you're the department head, turn in your budget, and it'll be up to us to either say yes or no.
I guess what I was looking for is guidance, because the other thing is, and I'm hoping Ed puts this out, because people are actively working on their budgets currently. You know, the letter code thing changed today, and I'm very grateful for that. I didn't do your woo-hoo, but all of the salary lines, and my understanding in talking with Ed, when we do our budgets this year, all the salary lines will actually end with X. Is that correct?
Stop me determining that.
Okay, well, again, that's something that we need to know really quick, because some of these budgets take
Yeah.
a long time.
they're going to start
And so
doing the budget next month.
We need to make sure everybody's on the same page moving forward. I mean, we're at the end of May. We have a month to present or to do our budgets, because there is a timeline. So I think that needs to come out as well, so that everybody's on the same page with that.
It's like the council needs to be under new leadership. Period.
Go ahead, Matt. I mean,
We've done this in the past prior to you coming on, onto the county, where we put that money in the county council budget, and then it got allocated to whatever department it needed to in that general fund. So,
just a complete, so even since I've been here, it's a complete reversal from the way that we've done budgets, right?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, there is when we just find out at the end of May, okay? This is not something that
You have your salary lines.
I do.
Right. So you just don't make any moves to the salary lines currently. And then you're going to be working through the remainder of your budget. If we add to it, we're able to add to it, then we will. But that's really as basic as it gets.
and with the way the salary study is, like Matt was saying, and I mentioned last month, there was like a rubric that they went
Here's
through.
the problem. This is the problem that I'm having with government. It's a problem I have with the city of Muncie. It's a problem I'm having with these people. It's a problem with what's going on here. And the problem is they know what's going on. Two people know what's going on, and they're mad because the people that need to know what's going on doesn't know what's going on, and the people that needs to know what's going on is saying like, hey, let us know what's going on, and they feel like incensed because Fred's asking. Yes, Tweety Bird, I thought we would have already got to that. That might be tomorrow. I'm going to try to get to it here, but we're going really long on this, so we've only got a few more topics. But I am going to talk on that. I actually talked about that thing that the Star Press covered today. I talked about it back at the end of April, and Audie and I talked about it in May. Audie actually brought it up at the council meeting, and that's what helped Nora think to bring it up when she called out Craig. It's great. I'm glad the Star Press is investigating. Welcome to the party. I'm glad they're finally on it now. Better late than never, I guess.
For all these different things.
And that
they
was
figured out they
referencing
waited
Muncie, not this council.
every type of job, and then they are giving us what that salary should look like. And that's what we'll be working off of. So it's not going to be, it levels is what it ends up doing. And it'll help us
I mean,
to,
to Ryan's point, you can put it in there, but if we pull it out, it's just more work to do that.
My personal opinion is I think you should submit your budget that you want. And then it's up our jobs to make it what it needs to be. But then your hands are free and clear. You've done what you're supposed to do. That's my opinion. I'm just one person.
Sheriff?
Okay. So he then sits down and apparently was okay with
salary order.
then he must have sat back there and thought, wait a minute, I just got something else to say. He just was not done. So he came back up.
It's
for
not
round
just
two.
the salary lines that are impacted when we do our budget. We have to look at holiday, we have to look at overtime, we have to look at perf, so without putting those numbers in our budget, and to Matt's point, I get it, you may have to cut it, but if we don't put those salary increases in, then we don't have the right calculations for a lot of other lines. So from my standpoint, I think it makes more sense for us to put in for the.
And if you're thinking that this is boring and this is going long, please don't leave. Stick around. The very next thing that we talk about is big for everybody in the county.
That we want and work from there, because there's so many other lines that snowball off of that. I don't know that will all be captured in whatever pot of money you're going to put aside. So that's my other big concern, is it's not just the salary line. And if you're not putting all that extra money aside to cover all the other incidentals that go along with that, then we're going to be really short in the end. So I think from my standpoint, it makes more sense to at least put in what we want for a raise for our staff, and then we work from there. Because I don't think you can account for all the other ancillary costs that are in the budget just by doing a pool of money, because when you start trying to break that out, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So
My recommendation would be, if you do that, like you said, that all the other expense lines should, so I guess it would be my recommendation that if you can cut expenses one place to add salary increases in another, and come to the table with that justification, I think that's, totally within your prerogative to do that. And to Ryan's point, I just think that this year we should be spending, I think, as much time just on not just on the salaries, but on all of our other expense lines that we're looking at too. And if you can help save us money, to get money for your employees, great. That's what we should be task number one in the budget. And then we will see what else, once we know max levy and other things. We don't know what we're getting this year, if anything.
I completely agree with what you're saying. The problem is a lot of departments, I'll speak for mine, I'm not speaking for anybody else. We have contractual stuff that goes up every year. So just like in this budget that we're currently in, it was obviously cut from the request, but you get to a point, and I said this at budget time last year, you get to a point where you can't cut your budget anymore to try to offset raises or personnel expenses, because you've cut it pretty much as you can. In fact, you have to raise stuff contractually. So regardless of raises or any ancillary costs from personnel, budgets for some departments are they have to go up. There's no choice. So it's not a matter of trying to find money to fund a raise or something like that. That's the dilemma that some departments have with contractual stuff and everything else, man. It's not like
I'm not going to argue that.
The council just wants them to come in with the
That may be
absolute lowest number possible. So when they submit the budget for the whole year, they can go, look, we managed to cut X, Y, and Z as an amount. And then what happened last year? That's what they tried to do last year.
Yes.
And what happened? Within 3 months, you have every damn department in there asking for additional funding.
Yes.
Give us your bottom line.
Yes.
What is everything you want? Because you're not coming back to ask for money later.
Right. That's exactly what that's exactly. Well, you know, and Matt Kantz, this has been a big push of Matt Kantz. And I, you know, he's now got Jessica on board. Whoop-de-doopty. I don't know. Refresh my memory. Which department/firm agency is conducting the salary study and will be making recommendations to the council? That's a good question. Counselor Ryan Webb, are you here? I don't know if you're here. I don't know off the top of my brain. I can't answer that question. I knew they were doing it, and I should know that, but I don't know that. I do not know. I don't know. We will find out. I will find that out.
True, absolutely could be true. But there's the alternate is also true. So it's every business runs the exact same way, whether it's county government or otherwise. You have give and take, and sometimes it's.
I would be more than happy to sit down with you at any time and try to come up with areas to cut my budget.
We're not speaking about that specifically right now. Just saying generally.
So.
Two questions. Where are we at on the judicial lit tax?
Okay, whoa, back up, Emily, before you blow everybody's heads off. Commissioners paid 40 to 80 grand. Hey, for next year's budget, why don't we do this? Don't pay stupid crap for stuff like this to happen. The commissioners are paying somewhere between $40,000 and $80,000, which seems to be like a pretty broad window. So who knows what that even means? But the commissioners decided to pay an outside firm, an outside contractor, between $40,000 and $80,000 to put all this information together. I will do some further digging on that, Jackie. Okay. Now they got done talking. Fred decided to sit down. He was tired. I want you to listen to what Emily Anderson asks right here. Okay. Listen to what Emily Anderson says. This is probably the biggest thing we've discussed tonight.
I would be more than happy to sit down with you at any time and try to come up with areas to cut my budget.
Folks, don't go anywhere. Listen to this.
That specific right now. Just saying generally.
So.
Two questions. Where are we at on the judicial lit tax that we discussed earlier this year? The judges have wanted to know what we're doing with that because that's going to affect our budget. I know that you guys said you were looking into it, but I've not heard anything since. And then secondly, when you talk about this pot of money being in county general, what about our budgets outside of county general? How are we
Here's
supposed to know what we're
the
supposed to
second or third highest paid county employee. Not a police officer, not a fireman, not a doctor. Maybe does a great job, and maybe doesn't. But does she deserve the amount of money she got? Who knows? Why is she getting the amount of money that she got? Because 5 people in little black robes got together and attempted to hold the council hostage and force them into a corner. And because this council is led by losers, they didn't push back and say, we are not going to be held hostage. We are going to push back and say, we don't think that this is appropriate. So the judges felt she was important enough to give the second or third highest salary in Delaware County. So that's her. And I just want to let you know what she's asking. Currently, she's asking for the lit. She's asking them where they are with the judicial lit. She's currently paid $71,331 to sit and work in an office Like 35 hours, 38 hours a week. And I'm not saying she's not important, and I'm not saying she's not fun and great and everything. Wonderful, probably, funny. Her girlfriends and her people that work for her probably love her. I imagine she's a dream. That being said, here's the she just asked them where they are at increasing taxes. Increasing taxes on Delaware County citizens to pay the court people some more money.
For that.
She's never came up here for just like a, hey, everybody, everything's okay. Every time she comes up here, she asks for more money and more money. They need to start calling her Emily Dollar Sign.
That's what I was saying. You would still budget whatever money you have available, right? You have different funds and we do. Yeah. And so if we were to put in a certain amount of raise that we think we want to put in for, just do that accordingly. See, that's where we're struggling.
EW plays, yeah.
Right. That's why I was saying just for county general, because then theirs they would have to go in. Like we have some grants, we have some funds that are non-reverting. So we have highway that's right. So different fundings outside of county general that's not going to be affected by that pot of money. Yeah, we haven't heard what the growth quotient's been, right? I haven't heard. I haven't seen anything.
Oh yes, Greg.
We're concerned it may go down.
The salary study contains a leveling of every job category. Would you increase a title, the same title in county general? Would you increase it in a fund if it was the same job?
Yes.
You could.
Yeah, I mean, there are some jobs that do cross over. Like I have some similar jobs in county general that I would have in a grant.
So until you.
But I don't know what that job study says, so I can't even
until we can
estimate.
go through all that, they're supposed to present all that
Right.
and give us. It's the categorization in the study that is going to maybe dictate a lot of this. We only saw it for a few minutes.
Right.
So they're supposed to come and report on that so we can have a better understanding.
When?
What's that look like, and if there's anything that can or can't be done, and it'll be a public document at that point. Yeah.
Well, but the problem is that we're all working on like what Fred said, we're all working on our budgets, and it's due June 31st. So we're all under the gun here. Yep. So we just put in what we feel.
Sounds like something great the commissioners have done. Another amazing thing the commissioners have done.
I mean, that's kind of where we're at. And so that's kind of what we have to do. Do we know where we're at on the judicial lit? Are we? I mean, because that does affect the court budget tremendously. At the AIC that it was only for 3 positions. It's for court reporter, assistant court reporter, and court admin. But I mean,
what?
Most of my
court admin, dude, what does she's literally, did she just say it's for court reporter, assistant court reporter, and court admin? She's the court admin. Is she now? Please help me, assist me. Is she standing before the council asking them where we are on raising taxes in the county so she can get paid more money? Is that what she's asking?
Staff is court reporters, assistant court reporters, and myself. So that's 30, almost 30 employees that could be put into that tax.
I'll go ahead and let you know my position. I will never, ever, ever vote.
I know.
Tax increase.
I know you won't.
So
you're one person though.
I am one person.
Oh.
I'm going to be very vocal about it. I'm a vocal.
But I'm going to tell you that would put a lot of that would take some pressure off of the county general.
Well, that's what we get paid to do, is to figure it out without raising taxes. We've got enough money in that budget somewhere that we can get the job done without raising taxes. Shoot, Brad's bringing in all kinds of revenue on interest, Tony's bringing in revenue on federal inmates. We don't
Look,
need to put the
look,
burden on-
Piper's like, oh, I'm so uncomfortable here. Where's Wayne? I can't deal with it right now. I can't, dude, for the love of God.
I don't know about you, but I think that comment she made to Ryan may have been violating their code of conduct.
Yeah, wasn't that kind of bitchy sounding? It was, hey, she's got the power. The judge is backing her, baby. She makes that big dollars. She can talk to whoever she wants to, however she wants. And we all know Ryan needs it. I mean, it's not like, it ain't no thing, but that's ridiculous. I feel like this is the second meeting that she's came to. She's came up here in the council's house and got a little snarky. I think this is like the second meeting in a row that she's done that. Let's listen to it again.
So
You're one person though.
I am one person, and I'm going to be very.
Assistant court reporter and court admin. But I mean, most of my staff is court reporters, assistant court reporters, and myself. So that's 20, almost 30 employees that could be put into that tax.
I'll go ahead and let you know my position. I will never, ever, ever vote for
I know.
a tax increase.
I know you won't.
I know.
You're one person though.
I am one person, and I'm going to be very vocal about it. I'm a vocal.
But I'm going to tell you that that would put a lot of, that would take some pressure off of the county general.
Well, that's what we get paid to do, is to figure it out without raising taxes.
Look at Piper. She's so uncomfortable.
We've got enough money in that budget somewhere that we can get the job done without raising taxes. Shoot, Brad's bringing in all kinds of revenue on interest, Tony's bringing in revenue on federal inmates. We don't need to put the burden on the citizens for another tax. We can get it done.
That's your opinion.
Wow.
Yeah, we haven't had, outside of.
I'm telling you, I am for getting rid of every judge currently on the bench. Like anybody that backed up what the judges did last year and allowing her to be paid more and allowing her to have the power that she now thinks she has. And that she just thinks that all Delaware County citizens now need to be taxed more because she and 20 of her friends, want easy money. Man.
Is there a deadline for that?
I can't remember it, but it's very soon.
Yes, right.
That was our fear, is that you would not get it in time.
Listen what happens. So there's some side discussion here, and what they're hearing from the auditor's office is that the deadline to pass for this judicial lit has come and went, and that they didn't do it in time to get it this year. And listen to what Emily Anderson then says. Man, that's so frustrating. She is something else. Listen to what she says when they find out that the deadline might have already passed.
Yeah, we haven't had, outside of.
Is there a deadline for that?
I can't remember it, but it's very soon.
Yes, right.
That was our fear, is that you would not get it in time and then we'd be out without that tax ability. So.
I can't speak to any of the recent statutory changes, but when we had the call with the government and finance last year, the deadlines for that specific lit tax, at least last year, were later than the other ones. Goes back like October, October. Yeah, it was substantially later than the general lit tax because it's the way that they account for it is different than the normal lit. But I don't know if that's changed.
Yeah, we'll find out the deadline. I appreciate you looking into it and letting us know for sure. Thank you. You're welcome.
Wow.
Okay, I just have a quick question. Okay. Example, I go in with my budget, I do a 4%. we can fund that. The
Wow.
job study comes back and it says, really, your employees should be given a 10% to bring them up to scale. So is that going to be addressed then after the first of the year to bring
All right.
those
So then the
employees up
last
to
thing
scale?
on this
Because
that
I only
we're
put
going to hear
4% in
tonight
my budget.
is then this discussion.
As
discussion
an
here.
example. I mean, there have any comments from council?
Yes, that guidance is needed, because if everybody puts in for something, then that's gonna say, what do we put in? I mean,
But to your point, if we're gonna look at this as everything's a zero as we start, and we haven't heard what the growth quotient is, which was what, 4% last year. We had everyone put 4% in. We can still put that money, I mean, we can put that bucket of money in our line too if we need to.
I mean, it looks like this is like a husband and wife discussing where they're going to go eat dinner. She doesn't seem like she's in a meeting being serious and like having she's talking to him about things that nobody else knows. And I hate when she does that. Be a grown up and look out to your bosses that are talking to you and talk like you're talking to us. Grow the hell up. And talk to the people that are giving you the job and that blindly voted for you to win this election and apparently will be there for another 4 years. So talk to us. Quit doe-eyeing Miami Vice and let's have it.
anybody else have any thoughts?
It's kind of all over the place. There are some places where people are, according to the rubric, paid more than, not that, it's not like everybody there, but there are places where that is the case. And then there's some places that you see a bigger jump than others.
What about this? Is it possible that we could just proceed as we normally would, and this study, I imagine it's gonna take a minute to get our heads around it, is something that maybe it doesn't impact this year's budget. Maybe that study is something moving forward.
And maybe that's what
That
we'll
is
have to
true.
do.
Maybe we ought to. We had that conversation, actually, was we make no moves this year and we deal with it in 2025. I think this, for me, the safety net is they need to put something in the budget. I don't care if it's 4%, 6%, whatever percent. And as always, at the discretion of the council.
We can make it whatever.
Then we allocate the funds, but if they don't put any funds in there, then they don't get anything, right?
Well, we were gonna put money in ours that would be able to be dispersed, but yeah.
I like the idea of accountability being on their lap, so if they come asking for money later, you can always say, you didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
And then if it's not, then inform the council.
Yeah, the only challenge with that, I guess, is, and the thought behind putting it into a bucket was that there's gonna be some departments that may move and change, and there's gonna be others that are gonna lose. So, there's a lot of working out to be done potentially, so the thought was put it in a bucket, and we will allocate it based on the leveling. If we decide to do anything in that front, or if there's any increases, then we look at it that way, because, I mean, just the leveling is gonna be, there's money gonna be needed for that, so everyone's up for 4%, but we're gonna end up going over every line item and having to
We'll put the
deduct
bucket in
and
ours.
put it back in and do all of that, so it actually puts more burden on us later for them to do it that way. I think it's always a misunderstanding. Maybe it's just me,
Heaven
but,
forbid there's more burden on the elected officials.
last year, for some reason, I just had this feeling that you were, as department heads, told to put 4% in your budget. Then the word got out to the employees as they're getting a 4% raise. Then there's all this disappointment. They're not getting a 4% raise. And I think that has to be communicated that just because the council has requested, or you have requested as department heads, that you are going to be asking for a certain allocation. There's no guarantee, especially the way it sounds now, that there may be that percentage, but there might be less. So, this is a budget. This is where the department heads come before the council and with your request, the employees, and should just take note that,
we have a responsibility here and that, we'll do the best we can. That's all.
You know, some people don't realize is that we're given the money, we have to work for it. We don't get to go ask for it.
What?
And we don't know that number yet.
No.
And if I was a department head putting budget together to submit, I would put in there what I would like to see for raises. That would be what I would do.
All right, and then just
Exactly what I would do.
no, we'll go ahead and put money in ours. And we'll be able to do whatever we can do. But the idea is to try to start leveling these off.
I need some general idea on what the 4% over top, what that number might look like, right? Well, we know what we need to put in.
Figure that out.
Do it our own.
Yeah, well, all right,
But I think that, we didn't get, I guess we kind of started doing, sorry about that, comments, but then we kind of got off track a little bit. I was just gonna say, you know, congratulations to all the kids who've graduated and school's out and, you know, everybody enjoy their summer and have fun and go quite quick. So congratulations on another year.
And I'd like to say thank you to the people who did the salary. What a nightmare.
well, and thank you department heads for helping and participating in that, because I know they had to get that information from you to be able to do that, so. All right, well, council, don't forget to stick around so we can pick a date for that special meeting, and then otherwise, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Next meeting,
Next meeting is Tuesday, June 25th at 9 a.m.
so moved. Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan, roll call please.
Okay, that's over. So that was a shit show. Sorry, that was very long. It's been very long, and it was what it was. You ought to go watch the rest of that meeting if you're interested in seeing the things that we glossed over, because we glossed over a lot, but we watched the big discussions there and what was going on. There was a lot of stuff going on, man, and there was a lot of things that the council just, their idea is bare minimum. As long as we know what's going on, as long as we're okay with it, you know, they don't care. I'm not going to say that. Maybe they care about the employees. Maybe they care about the citizens. But I'm telling you, I sure as hell don't see it. I sure as hell don't see it. And man, I was going to say something. I'm not going to say. No, you know what? I am going to say it. You know, I'm okay. I've said it here. I'm okay with people not liking various politicians for this reason or that way. Someone likes Trump. Someone doesn't like Trump. Someone likes Bush. Someone likes Biden. Someone likes Ryan. Someone likes Nora. Someone likes Sean or McCoy. Someone likes Sproles. I don't like Sproles. It is what it is. I saw someone say the other day that Delaware County is unsafe for people in the gay community. And I disagree with that 100%. We might be having a discussion that goes on here about people's beliefs and a belief that people have held for a long time, right or wrong, what they believe is a Christian core belief, a conservative belief, and that's their opinion, your opinion. Everyone has their opinion. That being said, you know, I don't recall or hear of hearing any crimes. Like I've not heard of any people from a specific race or section or group of people that are being targeted or hurt. I don't think that's going on. I think Muncie and Delaware County is a safe community for everyone that lives here. And you guys that might hate Ryan or might not like Ryan because of the opinions that he says or whatever, his beliefs about how he chooses to live his life. And you might really disregard him for those same reasons, and you feel like he's disregarding you for the reasons that you choose and the reasons that you believe. So it's kind of interesting to me, but I do know this, and I don't know Ryan. I know Ryan from loosely just seeing how he does in this and kind of the things he talks about and whatever. I know for a fact that Ryan would not harm an individual just living their life. I know that. I don't know Ryan, but I know that he would not harm somebody that's just out living a life, someone that is gay or someone that is trans. I know he might say things that you don't like, but he would not physically harm you. If Ryan was driving by and he saw someone physically harming someone, I feel like Ryan would intervene. If I drove by and saw someone getting beat up or hurt or whatever, I would stop and help that person. And if it turned out that that person was a gay person or a trans person or a white person or whatever, it don't matter. I would just help that person. And I feel like Ryan would do the same. People might disagree with me. Maybe you're saying, like, Bilbrey, you're an idiot, whatever. Say that. That's fine. I'm just saying that I really hate hearing or feeling like I talk about Newcastle a lot, and Newcastle has an actual, like, it's kind of the same situation, right? Newcastle has an elected official who we are currently saying things about, like, this man is racist. Sproles is racist. He's the sheriff. But he is actively out there interfering with these people's lives, like in a physical way. Stopping people, detaining people, hurting people, taking people's freedoms away. Where in this situation, they're words, and words, hurt. They can hurt, I guess. They shouldn't hurt. Maybe I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. I'm just saying I hate the fact that people feel that Muncie is not safe. Muncie, I think, is safe. I think Muncie is inclusive to everybody, and maybe that's white privilege, me saying that. I don't know. But a straight privilege or whatever. But I just feel like even with things that there are, like, of the politicians that I do not agree with, there are still things that I have been agreeing with. I have been talking positive about Nora Powell. I have been talking positive about, I just had a conversation tonight with someone, and I said that Belinda Munson was really kind of winning me over with some things that she's been doing. And so that's my thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm very wrong. I don't know, but that's just that's what I see. The other thing that I would say is be very careful, everyone out there who is saying, well, we're getting rid of the boogeyman by getting rid of Ryan. Don't fool yourself with these other people that you think is like they're kind because they don't say bad things. It doesn't mean you know what's in their heart or in their mind. So just keep that in mind too. I had a whole lot of other things that I wanted to talk about. I didn't know that this county council thing was going to go so long. What I'm going to do is I will rework what I called this episode. I'll rework the thumbnail, and tomorrow night, we will talk about the city of Muncie. The Star Press did in fact cover today, for the first time, thank God, this situation with the city administration giving a 10% raise to AFSCME outside of their salary ordinance. And in this newspaper article, Ridenauer and Craig Wright are still saying, oh, that don't matter. We're okay. They are not. That is wrong. And if, for the people that are out there that are saying, yeah, go Dan, all I want you to do is I want you to take the name Dan Ridenauer out of the story, and I want you to plug the name Dennis Tyler into it. And if you would read that story and you would be like, see, Dennis is rotten, then you've got to say that about Dan. We're going to cover that tomorrow. So tune back in here tomorrow at 9. We have a lot to talk about. I could talk for another hour, but it's already 2 hours and 34 minutes. So we'll roll. I also have, and this is a big thing. I have records from Henry County. I think I have not looked at them. I was going to open them with all of you. I have 2 or 3 emails from Joel Harvey, and there are attachments attached. So we were going to go through that tonight. But for the listener that didn't want to hear about Sproles, there, you had a night off. We will talk about Muncie tomorrow, and we will talk about Sproles tomorrow. We will talk about Muncie first. We will talk about Sproles second. Tune in tomorrow night at 9 p.m. That's episode 112. Please do us a favor. Go back and like this episode if you have not. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you have not. Hit that bell so you stay notified when we go live. And I will do my very best to be on time tomorrow. So we need to get started on time and get rolling early. You guys take care. Hey, we are brothers, Jack. I'm assuming I've known it all along. I've known it all along, bro. You guys have a great night. Have a good Wednesday. Board of Works day tomorrow. Man, tomorrow's going to be a long show too. You guys take care. God bless. Have a great evening. Have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. And we'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. We've got Muncie and Sproles to talk about. Good night. Take care. Goodbye.
Are we taking bets on Board of Works tomorrow? How long it takes them to pass and how much?
I should have done that tonight.